Hello everybody, welcome back. The guitar is such a fascinating but also mysterious and sometimes downright puzzling and confusing instrument. I think some of us even think that whoever designed this maybe did it this way just to spite and confuse us. Take the piano for example, it's so different. Even a 5-year-old can sit down at it and go, okay, left to right, notes go up, right to left, notes go down. The big easy white keys are my C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then the little black ones at the back that are hard to reach, those are those strange sharps and flats. And that's pretty much it. This, the guitar, is a little different. We could look at it as 6 separate instruments, single string instruments, that are then stacked on top of each other, and one of them is a little off. You could even consider it as a single long string has been cut into several pieces and then again stacked on top of each other. Most people maybe would look at it as a single instrument with 6 strings, but then that requires extra mental and finger gymnastics to make everything sound good and make sense. So it's not always obvious exactly how this thing works. But once you become familiar with it and you truly master it, you discover this hidden architecture behind which you'll find an incredible amount of secrets and shortcuts and unlockable patterns and relationships, and they all contribute to making the guitar such a deep, rich, incredibly expressive instrument and actually quite a marvel of design. And to really understand it and make the most of it, we have to master a very simple concept that at the same time can feel a bit foreign to other instruments, which is that on the guitar you can very often play the same note in different places. It's so simple, but once you understand this, and this is what today's video is all about, those secrets and relationships and patterns will become apparent and natural to you. You'll find new cool chords and new fingerings for scales and different patterns. You'll create lush harmonies and soulful solos. So today I'm going to walk you through different levels of this and give you a few exercises that will help you see this grand architecture of the guitar for yourself. Before we begin, quick reminder that the guitar is tuned to the following notes: E, A, D, G, B, E, and every string is tuned 5 half steps above the one below it. So on the 5th fret of the 6th string I find the same sound as the open string for the 5th, and the 5th fret of the 5th string is the same as the 4th open string, and so on, with the exception of the 2nd string that is tuned only 4 half steps above the 3rd. I know a lot of you know this, but it becomes very important because otherwise you won't understand why all these shapes are shifting as we move through different strings. Also, I'll be using diagrams throughout the video to guide you along. If you'd like to download them, there's a nice handy PDF available on my Patreon, so if you'd like to help me make more of these videos, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, please feel free to copy them down or even take screenshots if you need to. So let's kick things off with the first level. It's a single note, and all we're gonna do is find a note on the fretboard. Let's play this note here on the 10th fret of the 6th string. By the way, this is a D. If you don't know that, this would be a great place to start, you know, find notes on the fretboard and figure out what they are. Now, if I play this note here, I notice that on the guitar, I can get to the same exact note also on the 5th fret of the 5th string, but also in the open string on the 4th string. So these 3 are actually the same note. They're not just Ds, there's a bunch of Ds out there, but they're actually the same D in the same octave, same pitch. If I were to keep looking, I find that some other notes are maybe only available in a couple of spots, whereas others could be in a lot of them. But other notes still, for example like this one or like this C sharp here, they're only available in one single spot. So where notes are available in more than one place is where we start seeing the overlap among strings. If I play something in the first 4 frets of the 6th string, then there is no overlap. This is not present anywhere else because the next string down starts on the 5th fret, and so these notes will only be available in one place. Same for the really high notes. They are past the point of the reach of the 2nd string, right? Whereas as we move towards the mid-range of the instrument, then the notes appear more and more often, because as we move along, for example, the 6th string, we start getting a replicate or a duplicate of that section of the 6th string on other strings. And so that's how it works. The closer you get to the edges of the range of the guitar, the fewer, or maybe just even one instance, and then they start building up. And on 24 frets, you can sometimes get the same note in 6 different places. So that would be my first exercise for you. Just pick a note anywhere on the fretboard, look at it, name it if you can, this is an F, and see if you can find that same F not only in the higher strings, but as many strings as you can below as well. But make sure, remember, we're not looking for any F, we're looking for that specific F. If you're a beginner or you're just starting out with this whole guitar architecture thing, this would be a great place to spend maybe half hour or so every day, a couple of days, maybe a week. You'll get great results. Very well, so now you're familiar with single notes. Let's move on to the basic structure of music, which is intervals, which is basically two notes at the same time, or at least the relationship between two notes. A lot of music is built on simply distances, right, between a note and another in a melody, or a chord and another in a chord progression. So let's again pick some random interval. Let's do a perfect fourth. Okay, so we're going to start on F sharp on the 11th fret of the third string, and the B on the 12th fret of the second string. Now I wonder if I can find this in other places. Because I'm kind of close to the mid-range, so to speak, of the guitar, we're not at the extremes, I can probably deduce that I'll be able to find this in several places, but let's see if we can. I know there's an F sharp here, so this is the same interval, and certainly can try up here. Here's another one, and if I stretch a little bit, I'll be able to find also on the 5th and 4th string. Now, the F sharp is out of reach for me on the 6th string, because 22 frets, I only get up to D, so I won't be able to play there. Again, remember not to fall into this trap of finding the same notes but on different octaves. We're actually looking, as we said, at this very specific notes we're talking about. What if, instead of playing them at the same time, harmonically, basically like a little chord, what if we wanted to play them melodically, like a melody? Well, now it gets even more interesting, because now I can find a lot of other places. Well, this is the one we had before, but what about this one? And we can even do some really strange thing like this. We can find these notes in many, many more places, because they don't have to be played at once, so they could be sharing a string. Some of them, like this I think I played, Don't Hurt Your Fingers, would even be available melodically or harmonically, like we did at the beginning. So you see, it's quite deep, and if you do it long enough with several intervals, you start seeing things in a good way on the guitar. You start really understanding relationships. Also, they don't have to be on adjacent strings. You can do really wide intervals. Of course, the more strings you involve in an interval, probably the fewer repetitions you can get, simply because you run out of strings. But by all means, do it with all kinds of intervals, close, far, harmonic, and melodic. This would be exercise 2. Pick 2 notes at random on the guitar and find that same interval throughout the fretboard. If you want to sing along to it, I wouldn't be against it. All right, for level 3, as you might have guessed, we're going to move up to 3 notes. And that's kind of interesting, because that's where most simple chords sit. And as a matter of fact, we're going to stick to a major chord. And if you need help and inspiration for this kind of exercise, I suggest you watch this video. It has all the triads for major, minor, diminished, and augmented. Not only they're explained, but you also get a look at all the diagrams, so you have plenty of places to start with as we explore 3 notes on the fretboard. So I do suggest, when you're done with this video, maybe check this one out if you haven't done so yet. For this level 3, we're going to take again a very simple chord, which is C major, and C major is made up of the notes C, E, and G, and we're going to start harmonically, which means we can play them all at once. So I'll play this C here on the 15th fret of the 5th string, then the E on the 14th fret of the 4th, and then the G, which is on the 12th fret of the 3rd. Okay, now because I'm using 3 strings, this suggests that I might be able to find fewer repetitions, simply because my unit occupies more strings, and therefore I basically run out of them quicker. But let's try it. I know that there's one up here on the 6th, 5th, and 4th. I could also find the same thing starting on the 10th fret of the 4th string. Notice how the shape changes, because remember at the beginning of the video, the way we tune the guitar means that everything that lands on the 2nd string gets moved up a fret, so it screws up all our shapes, which is another peculiarity of the guitar. And then I can find the same thing down here. So right away I started from this, and I realized that there's all these options. And this is, of course, playing them again harmonically. But if I'm open to playing them melodically, one note at a time, then my options again expand a lot. I could move this E here to the open string, or I can move it up here. I could stretch like crazy like that. I don't suggest you do it. I could move up to the other shape and do this, or maybe this, or maybe this becomes this, becomes this. I can even mix them up, and so on and so forth. I won't do all of them, but there's a lot of them out there. So for exercise number 3, pick 3 notes. If you like to make them a triad, as I suggested earlier, even better, and try to find them all over the fretboard, both harmonically and melodically. Try to switch keys, don't stay in C. You can play D, A, E flat, whatever you want. Just try to really explore the fretboard. You'll be amazed by how much your mind will be open by doing this just a few minutes every day. And now for our final level, level 4, we're going to move on to scales. Scales, just like chords, can be started on any note, and then we can find them all over the fretboard wherever possible. And we're going to stick to C major again because it's simpler. It's all the white keys, right? And I'm going to start on the same C as the previous chord. And here we're going to play this shape for the scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, of course, first things first, I'm going to try to find the same exact pattern and see if I can... Oh, this is going to be hard. There it is. And maybe there's another one here. Maybe there's one here. Same exact fingering and same exact pattern. But the truth is that as long as I play the right notes, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, I could probably do them in several different ways. So maybe I'm here, but I decide to play like this, right? Maybe I'm playing this one, but I decide to go towards the back, or maybe stretch it. If I had started maybe in the middle of the fretboard, again, I could have done all kinds of things. Right? They're all possibilities. You could even go crazier and simply find them in a straight line, or you could play 4 notes, then up 4 again, do the same thing from here, or maybe 5 plus 3. There's so many things you can do. You could play only 2 notes on each string. Let's see if I can do it. Right? And they're still the same exact notes. There are a bunch of scales out there in a bunch of keys. If you need help, this is a long video with basically every single scale out there. It will give you stuff to work on for sure, but the basic exercise is, again, find a scale, any scale, make it as simple as you, or as hard as you need it to be, and then work your way throughout the fretboard, just like a spider throughout the whole web, right? And try to find them in as many places as possible. Don't always start at the back or at the bottom of the fretboard. You know, start in the middle, maybe start on the high strings, and still you'll be able to work your way back. Okay, so mix it up. And that's it. Just do this for a few minutes every day and you'll discover amazing truths about the guitar, and certainly it's a great way to find your own voice on the instrument. If you've enjoyed the video and you learned something new, please do like and subscribe. It really helps. Share it with your friends, and no matter what you do, I look forward to seeing you very soon. Bye-bye.